Stinky Popcorn Boys.
We watch movies and eat popcorn. And are stinky.
Hello. We are the Stinky Popcorn Boys. Just some boys talking about movies and how they made us feel. I am Patrick Basquill, and I hold the record for North Carolina high school baseball for the most times with a separated shoulder in one inning.
Wow. Is that real?
I mean, it was three pitches in a row. So I don't know if that's real, but I'm going to say that nobody else is going to be stupid enough to throw their arm out of its socket and then get the ball back and be like, oh, okay, let me do maybe that was just one time, and then throw it again and then have it like pop out and slam back in and then be like, okay, maybe this last time. I struck the dude out. Definitely separated my shoulder 3 times.
I mean, at least you got him. You got him.
I got him. I was done for the next year and a half, but I got him.
And I'm John Gilardi, and I hold the record for the only lacrosse player in North Carolina to use his lacrosse stick as a javelin to try and spear an enemy opponent. I was going to say player, but opponent works. That is a joke. That is facetious. Just because yours was kind of real.
Okay. Mine was real. See, I thought, okay, yeah. All right, now I understand. Hey, I'm Patrick Basquill, and I'm the only guy who ever to stomp somebody's hand with my metal cleats and then have them love me.
What a story. There's an alternate universe where that's real. It's like everything.
Now that I've said it.
Yep.
Now that I've said it, it exists.
You manifested it. Anyways, why are we talking about violent sports stuff? We watched Happy Gilmore. I think that should say it all. If you know what Happy Gilmore is, it's the classic Adam Sandler comedy from. Let's see. Do you have a guess on the year? Unless you know. Me? Yeah. Guess what year Happy Gilmore came out.
I think I know because I was searching it up trying to find streaming options. I'm pretty sure it's 96.
It is. So the 1996 comedy.
Yo, Adam Sandler had a run, dude, where he just absolutely. Are you about to talk about Adam Sandler's run? Are you about to talk about his sweet little fucking can't miss run?
I mean, I can. But yeah, so this was. I wasn't watching this when I came out because I was 4, but like around the early 2000s and. Just being a kid and like Adam Sandler comedy definitely can connect for a younger audience because it's so sophomoric and slapsticky. And it was like kind of a semi-approachable kind of adult content for a like 8, 10, 13-year-old in that range, And anyways, so he had a ton of those when I was coming up. Primarily, Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, The Wedding Singer, The Waterboy, Big Daddy, maybe Little Nicky. I don't know if that really counts as a great one. Mr. Deeds.
Little Nicky was like, I feel like Little Nicky and Mr. Deeds are sort of like at the tail end.
Yeah. 8 Crazy Nights. Looking at it, 50 First Dates is at the extreme tail end. But in terms of
that was also
that was like mid 2000s. But yeah, I'd say at the tail end, Big Daddy. Big Daddy's 99. But yeah, so like in between from 95 to 99,
we've got
that was all those movies I mentioned. And
basically all of those movies are like post Saturday Night Live, where he's got Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, The Wedding Singer, The Waterboy, Big Daddy, and then like Little Nicky is sort of like, yeah, you've gone to this well too many times because it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5. And then he goes to Little Nicky, and it's like, maybe this is too much.
Yeah.
And then he does Punch Drunk Love and Mr. Deeds.
I mean, you keep running with it while you have it, I guess. I can't blame him for that. And they're all good. I mean, Little Nicky, again, is probably where it tapers off. But there's a parent.
But then, I mean, I would say, too, is, again, just sort of like looking at his like, filmography, is like he kind of, I think we talked a little bit about Tom Cruise and his management of his career. And it's like, Adam Sandler has also done a really good job of like managing his career, doing like cool stuff where it's like he does Punch Drunk Love, which is again sort of a departure, but sort of the same. It's sort of like the most I think it's like Happy Gilmore, but then through Paul Thomas Anderson's lens, where it's something like that, where it's like it almost has to be, and we talked about that.
Yeah,
and then he's got anger. Oh yeah, we did. And then he's got check out our podcast for more thoughts on
Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler. But then he does anger management with Jack Nicholson, which is I think is. But again, it's like sort of escalate. He's like escalating with Punch Drunk Love, with anger management, and then with 50 First Dates and Spanglish. He's sort of escalating this thing that he's like already done for years and years. But then he's adding Jack Nicholson, and he's adding Paul Thomas Anderson, or Paul Thomas Anderson wants to work with him because that's the vibe that he wants. And then like he ages into doing different stuff. Well, then still doing You Don't Mess with the Zohan.
Yeah. Well, then there was that bad streak of Netflix movies, just like utter
Well,
garbage.
bad streak for us because we don't like him, but good streak for him because he's fucking after Pixels. I think Pixels is the movie where he's like, this is it. I'm gonna fucking jump on this. But he does the because I think isn't that one of the worst rated movies of all times?
Pixels.
Pixels, I'm pretty sure.
Well, during that, I feel like there was a time where his only good movies was the Hotel Transylvanias. Yeah, it's like Pixels, Ridiculous Six, The Do-Over.
Yeah,
it's just.
But what I'm saying is like at that point he's. I think after he does like You Don't Mess with the Zohan, and like it definitely feels like. And again, I'm making this fully up as we go do this deep dive into Adam Sandler's career before we jump into Happy Gilmore and the beauty and fun that is that. But it's like it very much is like. After a certain point, after like I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry and You Don't Mess with the Zohan, he's just kind of like, I would say after Funny People, he's just hanging out with his friends.
Oh yeah,
because you got Grown Ups.
Yep.
Just Go With It. Blended. That's My Boy. Where he's just like hanging out with the people that he wants to hang out with, going to places. He's just getting the bag at that point. I honestly think that he's just getting the bag. Until probably the Meyerowitz stories. But like his deal with Netflix is amazing because they're not good movies, but he's getting fucking paid and he's getting to do what he wants and like people are still watching it.
I know. It's who's the audience for his video? I mean, like I guess like is it that 8 to 15-year-old like teenage like young kid to teenager like having like kind of seeing that next like elevate like that content that gets a little bit more edgy, like is that where he falls? Is that audience? And then is it like the people who watched that growing up in the 90s and they just love him no matter what? I don't know. It's neither here nor there. I think we talked about this before, but
yeah, I honestly have no idea, and I'm not against it. But it's also like, who, like, I honestly have no idea who is watching those, like, Netflix movies. And it's funny because I've watched, which ones have I watched? I watched
a little bit of Ridiculous
Murder
6.
Mystery.
I was like, holy shit, this is trash. And like,
I've watched Murder Mystery. He was driving on the sidewalk in that shot. Hold on, I've got Happy Gilmore in the background there.
Yeah, I noticed that.
He's driving on the sidewalk.
With the old folks' home? Oh, no, on the way to the house, yes.
Yeah.
On the way to his grandma's house?
No, on the way to the old folks' home.
Oh,
he's driving.
Skipped ahead a little bit.
I didn't skip ahead. Did I skip ahead?
Or maybe
no, I started it exactly whenever we started recording.
Must be coming up for me. Yeah, I noticed that too. That's like, you thought we weren't going to notice that. Because like in this film's world, that's a road. But
yeah.
No. I know better. I saw it.
I saw it.
Yeah, so we watched Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
I've been in a hockey kick
10 minutes.
and a golf kick. We share the golf kick. It's a funny classic movie we watched. So it's got
I
a
would
lot
say
going
that
on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I would say that I'm like half in on the If on your hockey kick, I'm like, yeah, you turn me onto it. You put me in that spot a little bit.
Hey.
Took me to some hockey games. I watched some hockey games. I'm like, all right, yeah.
Watching
talk about this.
the hockey team having the hockey match.
Doing they got 3 periods.
Yep. Do you know what icing is?
I do know what icing is. I think I figured it out, John.
Hey.
As I was watching the Stanley Cup. Do you know what it is? Do you figure out when it is?
It's something about clearing it.
So
you have to be,
all right. So if you look at the lines,
yeah, there's the
you
red
can
line
touch it,
and the 2 blue lines.
There's the 2 blue lines, but also if you get to the far back, there's lines. There's different zones in that back little quadrant.
Well, no,
and
it's more about where you pass or shoot it.
It's you think it's there?
Yeah, no,
I
know it is that. I know it's that for a
No.
fact. I just can't remember the line exactly.
You're wrong.
I can't remember if it's past the midfield or the mid rink line or you're within the neutral zone. But
I was watching the Stanley Cup and I watched them call back icing because you touched it. So there's like in that back quadrant, I think,
if it touches
that back
someone,
area.
if it touches someone in the forward zone, like the forward neutral zone, I don't know the word, then that's a tip, and then that is not icing, and then you can go get that. Also on power plays, when you're on the kill, you can ice it and clear it all day.
Well, yeah, but I think that you can also save it before it gets to that vertical line on the back line.
If you get there before the defender, I believe.
If the defender, or because I also saw the Avalanche get it to like what's their name? The Lightning tried to clear, essentially tried to get icing, but the Avalanche were like, no, we're gonna get this and reset it and give it to you, and start again. Cool.
Yeah.
There's hockey.
So, anyways,
hockey.
This movie combines all that. It's nostalgia, something we watched, and combining hockey and golf essentially. And I watched it on the plane. I was like, holy shit, this holds up. Because I definitely had the bad taste of Adam Sandler and of the recent mid to late teens movies. But I was like, damn, this is good. This holds up. And I think like maybe Billy Madison doesn't as well throughout, and I think there might be one, but this one is pretty good, charming comedy, which is nice. And so it was just a real fun one to go back and visit, and it brings up a lot of fun things to talk about. And it's also like, now that I play a little golf, it's like, okay, there's a little extra ripple in here where I understand some of these jokes, and it's like, okay, I'm watching a lot of hockey now. I understand a little bit more of these jokes. So like this movie just becomes more enhanced than just watching it older and picking up the certain jokes. It just makes it better. And even just the stupid thing of like him using, like, going through his jobs and using his job items and like doing that stupid like fake dick humping thing. It's just like the relentlessness of it is just what's funny. And that's just like, as a kid I laughed at that because like, haha, funny guy, but like, I don't know, there's that's an example of an extra layer. It's just that relentlessness of this like dumbass townie from like New England. And that's also on a personal note, coming from New England. But I don't know, the plumber's crack just being, I don't know, that was just
his whole ass.
Yeah, I don't know,
his whole ass.
I'm just calling that out. But like my point to the kind of the repeat joke of the dick prop work item. And I think that's the simplest form of like, oh yeah, there's different layers of me understanding this now, and it's not that deep of a joke. That's like the funny thing is the layers of this joke, and it's just him using gas pumps as a dick prop. I don't know.
Well, and then with the gas one where he pulls the lever and sprays the gas.
Yeah,
is like another sort of like weird layer where it's like, what do we do? Like, it's like this guy, this fucking, I don't know. It's so funny because it's so simple, but there's so much care in every shot to like, as to why things are funny.
Yeah.
Because that's also what it is setting up the visual joke of it all.
Yeah.
And like, yeah.
I mean, it's nice to, and I always call back to comedy today, but it's just it's cool to see the visual comedy, I guess. And I think like I don't know. I'm talking about ass, but like I feel like I don't see it as much because it's maybe seen as cheap comedy. But I think I think that's a mistake in itself. Is that any comedy is good comedy as long as it's done well or done with enough cheekiness or heart. I don't know. And I think this is definitely a lightning in the bottle kind of movie in terms of the physical comedy. Like there's so many things, like him just taking the balls to the chest, him fighting Bob Barker, just the tall guy with a nail in the head. I just like different things that are just there. It's a lot of fun. Also rewatching this movie.
Even the little boy, and then it's following through is like having the little boy take the balls to the head or to the chest.
Yeah, and he's like,
and have him be.
He's in the background.
Like, ah!
You know, he's like in the background. And it's not.
Yeah.
It's just like I think like maybe. So there's the prop comedy or the physical comedy,
and then how quickly it gets into all the jokes too.
Yeah,
like with his wooden hand, like how quickly it gets into it. Like we've gotten so many things in 15 minutes already, you know, as we're watching this movie in the background. It's like we've already gotten so much, you know, that it's like, I don't know. I feel like people feel like things need to develop more, and then, I don't know. This is like an era or style of comedy that's like, it moves fast. This movie's only an hour and 30 minutes, and it's like it feels like we get so much into it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I didn't think about that, but it does pack a lot in. It's so hard because contemporary comedy today is so few and far between.
It's all action.
Yeah, and
it's
like
all action comedy.
That's the thing was with the Nicolas Cage movie, which I think we talked about that movie. Yeah, we did. But like the Nicolas Cage movie was like, oh shit, this is a comedy. I didn't know what I expected. Obviously, it was going to be a funny movie, but it's like this is a comedy, and this is me watching a comedy today, you know, and. I think that movie was great, but it's obviously stupid, but it still treats itself kind of serious, I guess. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just
it's like this movie is stupid, but it treats itself like it treats itself serious, you know, quote unquote, where it's like,
like the world. There's real people in this world, like Happy Gilmore. He's not even so much a caricature as just a dumbass. Like he's just a dumbass, you know. And
also, I mean, let's think about it, like realistically, because if you were to sort of like get halted, like and that's one of the things that I think is brilliant about some of the way that this stuff is written, is it's very much put together with like sketch logic, where it's like those movers, they're just doing drives in the middle of a neighborhood. Like even before he hits it a million years, you know?
Yeah.
Even before he shows up and hits it, they're just going to start hitting drives in the middle of a neighborhood. And it's like that like is maybe like a throwaway thing, but it also sets the tone for what the universe is.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's like that's such a weird little thing that it's just like, all right, fuck it, let's go. And then every time they sort of double down, it's like, yeah, I got my hand bit off by an alligator, and I have his eye, and it never, like, I say this a lot on this, where it's like you say yes to yourself, but it's like it never shies away from, like it's the commitment, where it's like of Carl Weathers being like, yeah, he took my hand and I took his eye, and it's like, yeah, I'm this kind of like crazy guy, but also you clearly should respect me and have my and respect my opinion on this matter.
Yeah.
No matter what. And they all and because everyone more or less says yes to each other, even within the scene. It's pretty cool.
I don't know how I didn't realize this, but that is Carl Weathers. What the fuck is wrong with me? I think because I watched this movie so much as a kid, like that's just Chubbs, like removed from reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the hell? I'm like so confused.
That's Carl Weathers, bro.
I didn't realize that was Carl. Whatever. All right. I'm embarrassed.
You should be. Nah, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I think this movie is fun. Like the characters are great, and I think Shooter McGavin really stands out as a kid. He's just like kind of an antagonist and a dick. When you watch this, he's still an antagonist and a dick, but the subtleties in him being a douche you see in things you've seen in your life, or I don't know, like it's like no one's a douche like that to you when you're a kid, I guess. But when you're an adult, that's much more relatable of understanding that people are like that. And so that caricature that he is, and just the like stupid gun thing that he does, and the just the general cockiness, like the confidence is so good. And I don't know, I guess I keep calling back to just interpreting this differently as I keep watching it. My favorite all-time bit is when his caddy takes his clubs and he just shoves them down. Like it's so not graceful. It's so kind of like, I guess, trashy in a way. Like it feels so authentic. Like it feels something you would see, and that's not like a thing I like about. I'm not saying that's what I like about the movie that makes it good, but like that's such a like that's a good moment they got. I don't know, and the kid looks really weird too, so it just helps to the kind of weird kind of absurdity to the scene.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could watch that over and over, and then
just to be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Because it's very get out of here.
But it sets the tone of him being on the golf course too, not following the rules, and I don't know. It's interesting because like
I think that's one of the things that's so good about Happy Gilmore is that especially now is because like golf, and I think that's why golf comedies are pretty good, is because it's such a fucking weird sport. And we can talk about golf in a little bit, but it's like it's such a weird sport. And the more I've played golf, I sort of like understand why some of those things are like there. But it is also just like it's just hit a ball in a hole, and then like all the sort of like pageantry behind it is just like
it's goofy
sort
as hell.
Of justification.
Like if you watch
it's
PGA
like,
or anything, it's like these guys are just using a stick to try to get a ball in a hole by only using the stick. Like
they're they're very good.
Yeah, it just I mean, any sport you deduce down is dumb.
Yeah,
but people pay.
But
for
also,
it.
I think that I don't know. It's like it's like kind of a balance where you kind of go from like the work from home, where it's like, hey, why do we need to be in the office and wear ties and shirts? And it's like, well, it's because of, and it's like some people, you need that to like sort of like set that you're going to your job, but it's also like really unnecessary. It's kind of all a mental thing. One thing that I noticed whenever I was watching this first hole that he's on, as he like six putts this putt, which is honestly pretty good. Like that he's even able to just continue to six putt, like just to like get it in there finally. It's like, all right, hell yeah. But I just noticed, I was like, yeah, that's definitely sunset. They started in the morning, and they because then the sun shifts, and it's pretty funny.
Yeah,
to me.
It is different. It is interesting, the change of time from his tee off there to the same hole. But it's interesting
and then like, later in the day, it's the middle of the day again, and then like the next hole is like the middle of the day again. When he hits the hole in the one,
I guess it doesn't matter. I guess in the end, but
it doesn't.
It's interesting how much like kind of the not thesis, but like a big point in this movie is like making golf fun. Or like, why is golf so stuffy? And like someone like him is making it entertaining, and people are tuning in. He also commits assault a lot and gets away with it, but
he does. But it's also like it's a cartoon.
Yeah,
like
it's fine. It's funny.
I think maybe, but that's what fucking Adam Sandler is good at, is making real life cartoons.
Yeah, no, I agree. Or he was at a point in time, or had the capability. Yeah. We'll see, but. I guess we'll see if more come out. But what I was saying is like him making golf fun and exciting is cool as like concept in this, because there is versions of that in real life, and even like the Live Golf tournament, which has its own issues, is an effort in that, which is interesting. And it's like, I think, like, it's not for everyone, but I think it could be more fun to be a part of watching. And there's something there. Like, it's a very simple game to follow. And, I wonder if it's like how much, if it was more approachable and less stuffy, how much the game would benefit from that. And I think the Live Golf is an interesting real world example of that. I think like celebrity like golf tournaments and like vlog videos are also a really interesting way. Because in the end, like it's a lot of it is banter and like caricatures, going through highs and lows, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so you can see who someone really is. And especially if like people can really react the way they like that in a genuine way.
Would naturally react.
Then that's really interesting, with like, and I guess like when you become a professional, it's not a big of a deal when you succeed because it's like just another day. But I don't know. It's just interesting to see this movie and then know that the Live Golf tournament's happening, and then you have you have something like the Sandbagger Invitational, which is like these hockey guys that play golf, and it's like it's there, and it's wondering how much good old boys stuffy kind of like douche bourgeoisie fuckers, holding the game back.
Let's have some fun, guys.
Yeah, because it's a fun game. It's very fun. I don't know how to explain it. I know it's a meme of like shitting on people who play or like it, but like I don't know. It's something that challenges me, and I want to get better. And it's so fucking hard. And it's a reason to be outside. There's environmental issues with the upkeep of a lot of these courses, but as long as I'm not playing in Arizona or Las Vegas or California, I'm probably, those are the problematic courses in regards to that. But I don't know. I'm outside. Get my steps in. There's mental and physical toughness, pushing through, figuring things out. I don't know. It's not for everyone, but I don't know. It's interesting how it's knocked so much in like kind of bubbles on the internet that I'm even a part of myself. It's interesting, but
yeah, I mean,
a lot of people also do play. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I think it was something that people picked up during the pandemic because it was something outside, and essentially you could do solo.
It was like
distance
the only.
already.
It was like the only thing that wasn't like leisurely entertainment. It was the only thing that wasn't impacted, which is interesting. And I think a big part of it's blowing up. I remember going with the ironic part was like they were so busy that you couldn't tee off with two people. You had to partner up with two other randos so you could move around faster. It's like, well, I mean, what are we doing here? But that's just speaking to how much it blew up. And that's me. I think you had played before, but you got into it more during the pandemic.
Yeah.
I have another I played with you and other friend Tony, and he got into it more during the pandemic, and it's just like, I don't know, let's do it. Let's get outside, and so it's been a fun thing to pick up.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because there's lots of there are a lot of just environmental issues and like the green space, and like they're already cutting down so many things to like make various roads, or especially here in Wilmington where they're just like, oh, let's put a storage unit up and like put up an apartment complex for nobody to live at.
Yeah.
And so there's like that, but I also, that's one of the reasons I like to go to, shout out Old Fort, where it's just sort of like this kind of like, it's sort of like more a part of nature than it's not, I don't know. I think it's really fun. And it is just like nice to be outside, and it's like a really good reason to just like turn your phone off and be shitty at something.
It's also
but I
a
think
hobby,
one of the things,
which I think the access to, I sound like a fucking boomer here, but I think the access to like streaming and just people being inside, and even to an extent like the accessibility of maybe something like beer gardens or these cutesy fun venues, atmospheric places to go out, have like they're all things to do that are not things to do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. There's hobbies. There's so many different things: photography, golf, painting, anything hobbyist. But like, I don't know how much That's all I'm saying is it's a hobby, and I think it's something good, and I think it's a lot of things people may be lacking these days are hobbies, especially in light of the pandemic,
Yeah.
which was some people maybe picked things up, and I think others didn't. And
Nobody, hey, nobody come at John for fucking liking golf.
hey,
Okay? Don't come at me. Don't come at John. We understand the inherent badness of golf, but don't knock it as a sport until you tried it, because I knocked golf as a sport for years and years,
me too.
and it's fucking hard as shit. It's hard as shit because you know what? The ground's right there. That ball ain't moving, and the ground is right there, and it's all you. And any mistake that you make is all on you. And that's one of the things that's for like talking about like Happy Gilmore, where this motherfucker has never played golf before, and he has his goofy. He can hit the ball 400 yards. Yeah, great, awesome. You know who else can hit the ball pretty far, John? You know him pretty well. It's me. I can hit the ball pretty far.
Yeah.
I average like maybe 250 yards. You know, like that's like my high end. But you know what I can't do? I can't keep that motherfucker straight all the time.
Yeah.
I'm getting better about it recently, but I like
That was
like
that sounded like
I've always
that sounded like a segue into an ad read for a second. If we had ad reads,
yeah.
okay, go ahead.
Yeah. And so one of the ways that working with Squarespace Golf, I was able to sort of straighten out my thing. So for only $4.99 a month, you can sign up for Squarespace Golf, and someone will come and they will tie your hands to a golf club and make you hit better. It's kind of scary, but it's worth the money. Only $4.99 a month. That's $499 a month. Everybody can afford it. Super affordable, super good. Squarespace Golf, sponsored by Live Golf Tournament.
Not really.
No, not really.
Yeah, I didn't mean to be so defensive. It's just like, I don't know. I feel like,
No, dude, it's
I don't know. Do something. Like, I hope you're doing something too. And I think the environmental things. And
now you're being aggressive.
I think
you're being aggressive. It's like, hey, fucking get off my back. You fucking do something.
I don't want to sound so
You
defensive is the issue. I don't know. It's
yeah.
It's just interesting, and I think a
It
good
is
entry
interesting.
point is to go to a Topgolf or Drive Shack. I think it's fun. It's a fun thing to do with
Yeah.
friends. It's got a low environmental footprint, probably, or at least compared
More
to
or
a
less.
golf course. So you won't be betraying any of your morals, I guess, by going to one of those. And it's a fun thing with friends, and there's good food and drink and music and stuff. It's a kind of a cool environment to just try it out.
Sponsored by Topgolf.
Yeah,
Um,
which was my entry
but
point
that's-
into it. So.
yeah, it's a good entry point. It's a fun group activity.
Sponsored by.
But
Topgolf.
I think, but that was one of the things watching this and after having played golf outside of, it being a classic comedy. And I think one of the things that's good that is like this movie is shot well. Is it shot like perfectly? Is it shot like really like complexly? No. But it's shot really well. And you know what? Like, I'm just looking, it's like there's been from the time there's only 2 cuts from the time that he goes out. He stands there on the golf course waiting to get sprinklered, and then we go into a 2 shot with him and is it Veronica? Which V name is it? in this one?
Virginia something. Virginia
Virginia.
or Virginia something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't cut until we go to her special, and then we cut at the end, and that's just good filmmaking. Where we stay in the 2 shot and we let them do that scene, we get to really feel it, and then we get to feel sort of the weight of the end of that conversation by going into singles on both of them.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Good little
Um,
good example of editing. Yeah, I mean
Yeah. Well, I think that's one of the things is like the shots are just so much longer, which again leads to that sort of like sketchy feel where it's like, all right, here's the setup. We're going to live in this moment and then we're going to be done with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's really simple blocking too. Like they come together, face each other. They move up 5 feet, face each other, and then they then move apart depth of field wise, I guess you could say. And the focus ring and the focus changes, and then it goes to the closest. It's like so basic, but it's so well done. It like, I don't know. I think honestly, I think that could be in textbooks for film, like students, as a little
And
simple
then-
example on
well-
like editing, on like different storytelling, like.
We've got one shot, and then we've got this shot that's it's a crane shot that goes down to Scooter McGavin's thing. Huh. I'm just sorry. I'm just looking because you do stay in the same shot for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching Ip Man, and generally maybe thinking about like kind of kung fu movies and like those action movies, how they live in wider shots in their long shots, and you see the skill and the acrobatic and the athleticism of these stuntmen and actors, and you really feel the fights, and it feels good. And it's like, and then you cut to like a Born Supremacy, Born Ultimatum movie where it's like super close shaky cam hypercuts, or even Marvel movies, and
Yeah.
like I think objectively there's so much more value in living in things, because what you're not watching the movies for this sake, but you're watching movies to be in that world, and you're in that world if you feel like you're there, if it feels real and relatable, and like real moments live, and they you don't punch in, you don't do anything weird, like it's just you and your life, your perspective, obviously. And so I think that's why they appeal, and I think that's why Oneers, on top of being a novelty, are fun to watch, because it's a different experience. And so in a Happy Gilmore, you're not going to have Oneers, but you can stretch some shots out, and it really helps let you like live in that moment, feel that moment. You can sit and think and feel emotions. You can pick up different things. It's just, I don't know. Like you brought it up, but it's like I'm thinking. It's like, I mean, this feels like a good way. And for this to be in a comedy, I think that's what maybe gives it its charm, is that you just, I don't know, you hang out with it. I don't know how to explain it. I guess I just did or tried to, but I guess I'm attributing maybe that is in part why the movie feels charming, I guess, is my thesis of that little tirade.
Well, yeah, and it feels good, I guess, to say. It feels like, because it's shot well, like it doesn't waste, there's no wasted shots. And it very much is that sort of like, there's just no wasted shots, What
it's
even that like there's a dolly up, or there's a crane up where he when he misses the ball for the first time, it's a crane up, and we go into the crane up, and then we go into the television coverage, and it like cuts directly from that coverage to the television coverage of what we're seeing. And I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like you don't think about it as you're watching it, or unless you give a shit.
Yeah.
But it is like these shots are all for a purpose, and like we've got moving shots where he's delivering these lines, where like Scooter McGavin is like, "You're fucking fired." Yeah, there's just no wasted shots. Like it's just really tightly edited, I guess.
Well, I think that's a general statement on the movie as a whole. Like it is very slapsticky and very sophomoric, which is, I mean, sophomoric is like Adam Sandler to a T, but it doesn't feel cheap, I guess. Like weird bad prosthetics or weird physical gags. Like Zohan has really bad physical prosthetic-y kind of gags. Like the talent's great, I mean, obviously, I almost said Carl Weathers, and I mean, I don't know, like Shooter McGavin's character. He's obviously not an A-lister, has even been close to a B-lister, but like he's a good.
He was at the time. At the time, he was like a B-lister, like comedy villain.
Oh, really?
Because he was in Flubber.
Oh, right.
He was in a bunch of stuff like that. Like he was like kind of like the Disney villain dad.
Yeah. I mean, either way, it pulls out good talent, and it doesn't go too goofy. Like, I don't know, like stop looking at me, Schwan, like that stuff, like it doesn't have that, and which is Adam Sandler, obviously, but I don't know. Like it's funny because the movie is about like it's kind of like this lowbrow golfer, but it also is a relatively speaking, a highbrow Adam Sandler sophomoric comedy, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just hits it. and again, I'm not saying that it's like shot like, whoa, this is Roger Deakins or whatever the cinematographer at their peak, but
it's a relativity,
it does exactly what it needs to do, and it looks good enough for you not to ever be taken out of it, which is something I think that, you could easily be taken out of it. It was something like this where it's just like there's just no wasted movement.
Yeah.
Which is what you want in a comedy, so that you can really like play in what's there, and then the things like the various like they clearly had a crane, so the various crane shots that we got elevated up and make it be like feel just that much little bit bigger.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Obviously, like you can see through the cracks of like this is a set on like 1 or 2 golf courses they rented, but they largely do make it feel like they're touring around the world. There's different like the movie and like production design and set location wise, like it feels really good too.
Yeah.
But one interesting thing, and obviously it's like it's trying to be like a New England town, but like like especially at the beginning where he first meets Chubbs, like that's clearly California, like Southern California in the background.
Yeah.
Like Massachusetts does not look like that.
Or there's one that are just like crazy mountains in the background.
Yeah. No.
Not that there's not mountains in New England, but
Not like that.
Not like that.
No. I mean, maybe at the foot of them. This could be a golf course, maybe at the foot of the hills, but I don't know. It's like I don't know, like just being from New England and then knowing that things are filmed in like Wilmington or California, stuff like that, and it's like, nah, that's not real. And then how much it's like it's one of the it's like where you have that like first taste of suspicion. You're like, wait, how else or where else has this like things that I'm not familiar with, like maybe something was supposed to be in Hawaii, but it's filmed in California. It looks fine for me, but to anyone who's from Hawaii is like, nah, fuck no, that's not Hawaii. I don't know.
You kidding me?
But there's just like the delusion like of film, and I think one of my first film teachers, the first thing they said was like, like we're gonna ruin movies for you. Like that's kind of the point.
It's gonna happen,
and like you're gonna like the magic's gone, and so. I don't know. It's like this is a whole different tangent of.
You find new things.
You find new things, and you do find yourself sucked in, and like that's the job. But it is fun to break it down, and it's fun to find the holes. But it is like, and at least on the personal level, like when it's someplace you lived or live, and there's discrepancies either way, that does take you out, in a sense. But that is so much like that is like one city, or one like the. I just laughed where he tried to shank Shooter with the beer bottle.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It didn't really do much for me in terms of taking me out of this one. It's just funny to point out. And
yeah.
It's just a different tangent
also,
on disillusionment.
I don't know. It just kind of fits with what the vibe is, where it's like, hey, listen, this is not about where we are. I like the Bruins. I like hockey. Like if I'm happy Gilmore, if I'm Adam Sandler, but this is about this goofy guy playing golf.
Yeah,
that's what it's about. It's not about where we are. It's not about the stuff, but it's like this is about me playing golf.
Yeah,
and being sticking it to them.
It's it's like blue collar dude playing golf, fitting in with the snobby pros. So
yeah,
as a kid, the TV bleeping sequences got me good. I don't know why.
Yeah,
but I think they got.
I get it.
They got me just as good now, but it's also maybe because I relate to that rage of just.
That's talking about golf. Coming back around talking about golf is earlier. I was like, I'm talking shit about golf for so long, whatever, and it's hard. It's hard. It is hard to keep the ball straight. And I think that that's one of the biggest myths of Happy Gilmore that I ever like is that hitting the ball straight is going to be easy.
Yeah, he lucked out. He just can hit it straight. A lot of hockey players, bringing it in, full circle, they seem to be pretty, like the carryover seems to be pretty good just obviously the technique isn't the same, but like the hockey sticks and pucks, you're kind of bent over, hunched over, swinging something, trying to go straight, aiming it. So I'm sure there's some carryover, and it's interesting. A lot of hockey players golf lefty, and
Oh.
I think that's because it's a stick sport, and with stick sports, lefty righty really doesn't matter. Baseball, swinging, lacrosse, golf, even cricket. I'm sure. It doesn't matter. Like I could switch hit all day, and I just committed to righty because it felt a little bit more natural. Lacrosse, you're supposed to go both hands, and then golf, you're obviously beholden to your clubs being like only one way. And that's all to say is hockey players switch sides a lot, so they have to like be lefty or righty. But like if you're a lefty, you're a lefty.
Yeah.
So it's like, if someone like with hockey, you're stuck essentially with that. So like I think there's a lot of guys who learn like with a lefty stick to be dynamic or to have that ripple on the ice. That then now you just have a lot more guys that are lefty golfing that are hockey players, which is just interesting because obviously lefties are like less than 10%, but.
Well, and I was about to say, John, I mean, you can definitely switch hit, but I don't know if people would say that you could switch hit all day. It's pretty hard. Like for baseball?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to be so flippant on it.
But you're a natural lefty, yeah?
Yeah.
I think it's been proven for the most part, most switch hitters, their dominant side is left, for whatever reason. And now I think that everybody who's played baseball for a long, long time has like a little bit of they're like, I can figure it out, but it's gonna look funky, and so it's about having a natural swing. I'm just pushing back. I'm just pushing back on the fact that
my point there was, if it doesn't matter what you are naturally, if you did one or the other, and did it and it made it your thing, maybe you'd be better natural the other way. But I think the discrepancy isn't as big as throwing left or right or stuff like that, I guess.
Oh, man. Whew. Yes, it's definitely okay.
Or
yes,
writing or drawing, stuff like that. If that
yes,
makes sense.
that is definitely a good point. Because it's the difference between hitting hitting left-handed, for me a natural righty, and then hold on. The difference between hitting left-handed as a natural righty and trying to throw or write as a natural righty with my left hand, oof.
Yeah.
And no way.
Nope.
Absolutely no way.
Would you say you make $1 to $2 million a year playing golf? Just put yourself in that world. Would you join the Live Golf tournament?
Bro. Oh boy.
Like you got a $50 million. Like what's the signing bonus that would make you switch over and golf for a Saudi-backed golf sports washing league?
Yeah.
Where do your morals end? What's the amount of money?
Probably $100 million. I mean, probably honestly like $50 million.
Yeah.
But especially if I'm already making $1 million a year playing golf.
That's true.
On the PGA Tour. Like, if me, Patrick Basco, right now, if they're like, you shot a 75 once over 2 different courses on one day, hell yeah, dude. Fucking, that's almost scratch golf.
Well, how much would you take today to play Live?
Today?
Yeah.
For Patrick Basco, I would take as much as they would give me.
Would you play for? Would you sign a 1 year, $1 million contract?
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? To play golf for a year and get $1 million guaranteed?
Would you feel weird about it?
I would feel weird about it, but you know what? I would be more like, damn, they're really desperate. They're just trying to get anybody to play. And I'd be like, listen, I'm really sorry, but I got they're offering me. I have no reason to be here, but they're offering me $1 million, and I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Like if they offered, if I got a call right now, Oh my gosh, look at my phone, and I answer it. It's from Live Golf, and they're like, hey, we heard that you shot okay golf in Raleigh, North Carolina, and then you play reasonably regularly. We want to give you $1 million to join the tour. I'd be like, absolutely, you know.
Who's this guy?
I was like, what is this? They're like, wow, we found some algorithms that said that you played fine.
Oh man, I watched a little bit just to see what it was about. Have you watched any of it?
I haven't watched any of it.
It's like a shotgun start, so everyone's on the course at the same time, I think.
What?
Yeah, so I think like maybe some people start on like the 16th, some start on the 1st. Like and they
weird.
And they play by teams too. So there's like 12 teams. And like Dustin Johnson was like the captain of his team and he picked 3 players or something. And the team names are super cringy and bad. Like look up Live Golf team logos. Like it's just like, you know, like the joke of like made up sports teams. That's the Live Golf thing. It's like the Aces Golf Club, the Ironheads, the Stingers, the Smash.
Oh my God, the High Flyers,
the Crushers, Torque Golf Club, and the logos are so bad. It's weird, but it seemed it moved and it was entertaining. I didn't want to watch too much of it because I didn't want to support it, but I was curious. But it like unfortunately seems to be a good format of being more interesting. It's just, you know, I feel dirty about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because of the whole sports watching thing for their well-documented humanitarian issues.
Well, and like helping fund 9/11 is also an issue.
All right. I don't want to hear this ad.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me like, oh, John, low blow.
Oh, no, not low blow. Listen, man, you can give it to him.
The outfit she wears when they go on their ice skating dates this movie so much. It's such a weird outfit, contemporarily speaking. And like it's weird when this movie feels like a period piece, I guess, in a sense. Where it's fun to see the outfits, it's fun to see all the cars, and like these were the things at the time it was made, but it's just like now it's just like a time capsule, which is awesome. I like it.
Well, and then even Adam Sandler stuff, and it's like, again, I'm not going to say that Julia Bowen doesn't look cute, but this is very much like I don't know, she's professional. She's trying to be professional. She's not like I don't know. I get it. It's a vibe. It's cute. You know, but it is that sort of like middle ground from like Nancy Wheeler to like, it's just not, it does date it a lot where it's like almost like that's something mom would put on.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's like extra nostalgic too, because that was the vibe when I was first getting my memories, I guess, or like first becoming conscious, you know, around 4 or 5 or 3 to 5, I'd say.
Yeah.
And so like that's, I don't know, that's my.
So we've got
really fucking nostalgic. I don't know. I'm blanking out. What do you got?
Oh, I fucking love this dude. Yeah, I think I know I'm a little bit ahead of you, but he's singing "Endless Love" and the Zamboni driver is mouthing the words to it.
Oh,
with them in the background. It's a fucking beautiful, stupid shot.
Yeah, not established at all.
Not established.
We just come in on the joke. And it's so good.
Not necessary, but it's also just such a beautiful shot with them in the background out of focus, and then the focus is him singing this heartfelt song and just feeling it. Oh, so good.
Yep.
So the golf team, the Live Golf team names are... He is so sad because it's endless. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
And they get their first kiss in the background. Like that, I think that might have been their first kiss too, is out of focus with this sad man in the front. It's good stuff.
I think that they kissed in a close-up, but yeah.
Yeah, it works either way. But what did you see on the teams' names, or what did you get?
The team names is the Aces Golf Clubs, Cliques, Crushers, Fireballs,
Cliques?
High Flyers, Cliques.
What's a clique?
CLEEGC. Cliques. I don't know. Okay. Aces, reference to hole-in-one. Cleeks, if you don't know what a cleek is, you're not alone. The word is Scottish and describes a club with an iron head, a narrow face, a little slope, used for shots from a poor lie on the fairway, or sometimes.
Maybe I need to get a cleek.
Sometimes for putting. Crushers. This is a reference to those hit the ball far. Peter Eelhen averages is on this team. He hits 300. Fireballs. The logo for this team is an anthropomorphic golf ball. High flyer. It's a play on word. A high flyer is someone who has the potential to be successful. Meanwhile, the high. Oh, that's stupid.
What is it?
Because it's high flyers, but it's HY flyers, which is an abbreviation for a hybrid club in a golf bag.
Who the fuck did their branding?
Well, that's Phil Mickelson's team.
That's so bad.
Most of the clubs, Ironheads, Majestic and Sticks, Niblix. Niblix is defined as an iron golf club with a wide, deeply slanted face used for short shots on the sand or for shots where quick loft and a little roll is desired. It's a 9-iron or a pitching wedge. Punching the ball. Torque, smash. Wow.
It's just bad.
Stinger.
Doesn't matter. It's just bad. It's just very bad.
Wow.
I think it hurts the credibility of this thing. I think it already has an uphill battle with its kind of whatever situation, and it's just really bad. The graphic design's bad, and the names are just jokes. It's bizarre.
I mean, they're not even. Again, they're just like I don't know. We've talked about this before about like team names and stuff, but there's such a like weird line where like it's gotta be good, you know. I don't know how to describe it, where it's like there's just such a weird line.
It's got to be good, and if not, you got to rely on normalization and time, you know. Like the Washington Commanders sounds dumb, but it also sounds dumb in a pretty established league of tradition for American football and NFL. But I think like give it 3 years of like whatever, you know.
I think the Commanders is bad. I think the Guardians might work better
for the Cleveland
baseball team.
Yeah, no, it doesn't bother me.
Guardians works better. I think that their colors, because their colors will work better. The Commanders, I don't know.
It's a shame the Red Wolves didn't work out because their branding looked really cool for that. And there's so many fun motifs and like crowd things and stadium noises, and marketing can go with Red Wolves too, Wolf Pack and Wolf Howling. I don't know. Can you imagine like a stadium of 60, 70,000 people howling or something? Like,
I think that's something that maybe they didn't take into account, because it's like with some of those because it is definitely like, what's your, like, you got to like, what's your cheer going to be? You know, what's your cheer going to be as a commander? It'd be like command. I don't fucking know. But you know,
it's like you're going to go hyper militarize kind of patriotism. Like, what's the vibe? And I don't know. Part of me is like, fuck it, just make up a name. Like, that's the energy the Commanders has. Like, they just have struggled so much, and then they just made this name.
But there's such a line between like the especially looking at the Live Golf team names, where there's just like they're just bad, and the logos are bad, and the names, like there's like a line that's like, does it sound like it's made by a 5-year-old? Does it sound like a team that was named by a 5-year-old? Or does it sound like a team for 5-year-olds? You know?
Yeah.
Like, cause like, I would say that like the Knicks, it's like, they're the Knicks. And it's like, why are they the Knicks, Braden? I don't know. Cause they like, I don't know. It's a fun word to say. New York Knicks. And it's all right. Yeah. All right, cool. And then it's like, New York Smashers. I don't know. I don't know exactly what I'm saying, but it's like monsters, smashers, crushers. It's like, fuck out of here. These are stupid.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how to describe it.
I think I picked up a bit of it, but there's also some fun, unabashed product placement in this movie with Subway and Pepsi. And there's like actual charm to product placement in these kind of 80s and 90s movies. I don't know if it's
when it works.
I don't know if it's purely nostalgic based on like old branding or something, but it's just a on the fly observation.
Well, I just thought it was funny how they were able to incorporate it in there. And they were like, in the first scene where he's like, I got us 2 Subway sandwiches to hang out and do Subway with or something, you know?
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm out of here. This doesn't matter. And it's like, it doesn't seem like it's really a part of it. And then when it comes back later and he's like, I do love Subway. I eat it every day of thing to slub it down my gob. And she's like, wait a second. And then they make it an ad in the movie where it's already an ad. And that's pretty fucking brilliant, honestly.
Some good meta. Let's see if I can find any Rotten Tomato reviews.
Yeah, right. Find us one.
Let's do audience ratings. So the critics give it 61%, audience give it 70 or 85.
Okay.
Aggregate.
That sounds about right.
Just another no name. Just another stereotypical Adam Sandler movie. That being said, I really enjoyed it. Here's an interesting one. No name. 1 star. Too cheesy and cringy. The Waterboy was very funny. This movie is just terrible.
Oh.
I can't believe so many people thinks this movie is funny. Well, I guess there was a lot of people out there with no taste. That says the guy who loved Waterboy. It's just like the most tomatoes,
What?
potatoes thing.
Okay, bud.
Let's see. I'll find a couple more. From Mike J said, I loved it. Paul Rudd is great as Ant-Man. Wrong movie, buddy.
How did you get here? How'd you get here, bud? That's funny.
1.5 star from Paul A. What a pile of schmaltzy American twaddle.
When are these people reviewing this movie? And like, did they watch it for the first time?
Here's Carter T. 3.5 stars. Adam Sandler in his prime. Green G.
I agree.
I love this movie. It's so good. Shooter McGavin is one of the most underrated movie villains. Truly one of the most loathsome and detestable characters ever invented.
Yep.
And then last one from Stuart R. It's just not plain stupid like most Adam Sandler movies, but it doesn't exactly have the charm to it. I think it has charm. But yeah.
I think it has charm.
It's just an interesting set of reviews there, but I wanted to squeeze some in. It's not as I think it's more valuable with the new films and stuff, but
yeah. Well, I guess the question that I have for any of those dudes, if they want to come fight me about it, is, was that the first time you watched it? Because it's like, I would say first time watching it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's first time watching
maybe.
it, but these are all reviews from this year. So if that doesn't answer your question, but
interesting.
Yeah.
I think the most unbelievable thing about this movie is that his mid game is good, that he's able to do good, and he doesn't lose any balls.
Yeah, like I think
that's
the fact that he can play
the
like a
most
par 4 or 5 and get on the green and then just rely on like a few putts is realistic. But the fact that par 3s are a thing or anything like that, it's just like no.
Yeah,
I have no reason to believe, because like his whole shtick is that he can hit the ball hard and good. You know, like that's what carried over from hockey. So
yeah. Well, and it's like also if he's hitting the ball full bore for 400 yards each time, then he's going to hit it over the hole a lot of times, unless he can modulate that, and I haven't seen any evidence that he can modulate it. I guess the question that I would ask you is, would Happy Gilmore join the Live Golf Tour?
I don't know. It depends on like how like. He is like a pretty classic like blue-blooded American, not blue-blooded, blue-collar kind of type. but that could go either way, especially if he like this is the 90s and he's now 50 years old or whatever.
Yeah, he's 50 years old. His grandma's dead.
I don't know.
Grandma.
I think part of him would want to, if he hasn't.
Maybe he's lost some of his like fervor.
Well, if he hasn't changed the sport in this timeline, like say it's our timeline, and like he's maybe feeling like repressed by the PGA and the stuffiness of it, I could see him then being like, I'm gonna go back to my roots, or I'm gonna like go to live golf and be who I am. That's my condition. I could see that.
I think I could see them. I could see live golf being like, you're gonna be the face, Yeah. And like definitely giving him like, they would be like, all right, here's $250 million, Happy Gilmore. He was maybe sort of a novelty in the late 90s as he sort of like came up the ranks as he won this regional golf tour, beats Shooter McGavin, sort of like sent this like old timey regional guy packing. And so like, and then he had some like a string of like sort of success in the early 90s, but was never really able to, streak things together outside of that original run. And is maybe more of a novelty, maybe dealt with some back injuries later on.
Like his swing isn't sustainable.
Yeah. But I think that there's a real chance that they would be like, they would give him, all right, hey, listen, you're on the way down. You're like, you're on the way down. You're doing stuff. Let's pump you up. We got a new form of golf a little bit, and we're gonna give you some cool stuff. And we're gonna give you lots of money to come and play for us. That's my pitch.
Yeah, I mean, I think he might take it. If not, I mean, maybe donate a lot of it, because he's like still just a regular guy. Like, I don't think fame would have changed him there, So,
especially if he never found success, like big success.
Yeah, so I could buy him joining, and kind of bending his rules around that. But what rating do you give this?
I'm gonna give this movie. I'm gonna give it like 3.5 Virgin on 4 straight 350-yard drives.
Nice. I gave it a 400-yard drive because that's what he hits. I don't know. Like, it's just like, it's a movie I enjoyed as a kid. It's a movie I enjoyed as an adult, and it, like, nostalgia held up, and I had a good time. So, expectations of my memory expectations on how to put it were high, and my contemporary expectations were met, I guess, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's a fun one.
It still hits. It still hits what you need.
What have you watched?
Well, I've watched. Shit, what have I watched? I watched The Marathon Man, or I watched like most of The Marathon Man. I watched. What else have I watched? Jesus.
You've been doing nothing.
That's why I got to get that fucking thing. Frickin' to remember what I watched. I mean, I've watched the first new episode of Stranger Things, and now I've got to. I might watch the second one.
I still need to watch that.
2.5 hours.
I watched. Did I talk about Rogue One?
What have you been watching?
I don't know if I remember talking during the last podcast.
Yeah, you talked to me about Rogue One. Like, I don't think you did on the last podcast, but you talked to me.
Yeah, I mean, if I did, I'm sorry. But I watched that. Movie held up so well. It's like it gets better with every viewing. Like, that's a good movie. I really like that. And I won't say much more just because I don't want to repeat myself if that's the case. But I also watched Ip Man for the first time. Enjoyed that. It's kind of... I was like, this guy is not going to lose. He's going to be a badass. Like, how are they going to make this interesting? And it still was relatively interesting. And it was, like, in the end, just fun to look at and watch, too. So,
yeah,
enjoyed that. I don't know if I'm in a rush to see the other two, but it was fun. And then I'm
Which one? What are you talking about now? Hold on.
Ip
Did I
Man?
miss something?
IP Man. Ip Man.
Oh, gotcha.
And then and then I've been watching The Terminal List, which is like the Chris Pratt kind of thriller show.
How's that?
It's pretty
How do you
good.
feel about that?
They've done a decent adaptation of it, I'd say. The book had some
'cause you read the book.
Yeah, the books I enjoyed. It's a weird book. It's written by a Navy SEAL, and he kind of like takes all his experiences being a SEAL and all the crazy shit he did and experiences and adapt them to a book. So it's like a weird, like it's obviously fiction, but it's like the action has an authenticity to it. I guess it's really interesting. And but it's also very. I think Jack Carr, the writer, is pretty good, but obviously there's some like kind of military veteran from that angle conservatism to it, and there's a lot of weird animosity towards like a fictional Hillary Clinton character and stuff in it, and so I was curious how they were going to do that, and the show has done a very good job of centralizing the show, I guess, if that makes sense, which is nice because it's more in line, I guess, with it's just more central. I don't know, like it was a weird book series to go through because it was like this is kind of interesting, get different perspective on things and whatnot, but the content of the story is it's a cool revenge story, and then there's just like cool kind of like spy thingies like the evasion and stuff like that. I don't know, it's just interesting. It's like it's a fun thriller despite all that. But anyways, they've done a good job centralizing
I'll tell you,
it and making the show kind of more accessible and less of that. And the book is ultimately fine. It just definitely has that kind of frustration.
It definitely has that sort of like that's also there.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the things. It's really interesting watching, for whatever reason, watching the Marvel machine or whatever it is, reestablish, like really work on Chris Pratt's public relations image. Like they've really gone to town in the past couple weeks of sort of like attempting to rehab his PR image.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I feel like this show doesn't help it necessarily because he's like there's weird sprinkling in of like Christianity in a way that feels like Chris Pratt he's happy, like he's like he can have a scene with some Christian stuff and it makes him happy, I guess. Yeah, is what it feels like. And because in the books, he's not a very Christian guy, and then obviously he's like playing like a veteran, kind of going on a domestic terrorism run, just going on revenge, and so it probably will like we'll have problematic people looking at it and thinking, hell yeah, go Chris Pratt, you know, and so I think that's maybe part of why Disney's doing that, and that's just, I don't know. What's the? My girlfriend was like, "Oh, it's just like this," and it's like a very common thing where, like, the guy's family gets killed and he just goes on a revenge rampage, and I can't remember what the other one is. It's like a super obvious film, but
Law-Abiding Citizen is one. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of that movie. I was just looking it up. According to USGA Rule 4BIII, Happy Gilmore's hockey stick putter would not legal as the putter head exceeds 7 inches.
But
in other words,
it'd be good in the Live Golf Tournament.
Would it?
I bet it would. I know they have different putting rules. They're letting things slide.
Huh. Good for them, I guess. I don't fucking know. I don't know how to feel about it, John.
Sorry.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that's about it. Get out there, play some golf. Don't play some golf. Live life. Have a good time. Don't eat Subway. Do eat Subway. Live your life. Have a good time.
Yeah. Drink Diet Pepsi.
Drink Diet Pepsi. Don't drink a Diet Pepsi.
It's up
I
to
don't
you.
know. Live your life. Have a good time.
Yeah. That's what we say.
I don't know. Live your life. Have a good time. But yeah, I think that's about it as far as I see it, as I feel.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Make sure you hit subscribe and say see whatever the vibe is. Be like, nice, good job, sweet boys, well done.
Here's 5 stars, or maybe 4.
Here's 5 stars,
but no lower than 4,
know.
please.
You know, as they say in, could you give me some relief, please? I'm trying to get to lobster sandwich.
That's in New
How's that
England.
for the Northeast?
I don't know where
That's
that was
New
going,
England, baby.
All right, see you.